By doing that, you both increase the overall revenue number with a disingenuous method, and you suppress your overall spend number through disingenuous methods. But that officially it allows you then to be able to spend that difference on the players that you need to be able to compete. Morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I'm Sean Butler. This guy's number is 700-350. I've been asking him all about Tottenham, but he's very quiet. I'm going to say it again. He must be in a bad mood. Never get tired of the farm jokes. See you later, mate. Bugsy Malone's also down here. I hope you are all happy and healthy doing the things that you love with the people that you love doing them with. Please do me a favour, guys. Smash the like on the video like you always do. Smash the subscribe on the channel if you haven't already. Drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts. And hit the notification bell so you can see the crazy rubbish farm jokes every day first. And let us know your thoughts on them before anybody else. Guys, before I get into Daniel Levy's speech from the Cambridge University debate thing, the Q&A that was uploaded last night, got to spend a couple of seconds saying a huge congratulations to the under-17 team last night, who went to the City Ground, took on Nottingham Forest away from home in the under-17s Premier League Cup final, and we won! We won! I didn't see the whole game, I'll be honest. I did see bits and pieces of the second half. Last I saw, I think we were 4-1 up with about 10 minutes to go, and I believe there was a fifth goal. From what I saw, we absolutely dominated them. It looked like men versus boys, but it wasn't. It was boys versus boys. Just our boys were better. And massive congratulations. I forget the goalkeeper's name, the captain, Luca something. I forget his name. I can't think of it. But it was an awesome sight to see him lifting the trophy with the cockerel, the Tottenham cockerel badge, and seeing a bunch of boys having the best time celebrating their successes. Congratulations to them. Now it's over to the under-18s, who are also doing exactly the same thing against Aston Villa at Villa Park. Now, I was under the impression that game is tonight at 7 o'clock. You can also see it on Spurs Play. I spoke to Irish Hotspur Dave yesterday. He thinks it's not for another week or two. So I'm not sure. Check it out for yourself. I'll figure it out when I get back and upload the video, and I'll put a little edit on so you'll see it. But you'll get to see maybe some familiar names in that game. Alfie Donington, I think, is going to be playing. Will Lancashire. George Abbott. You know, some of these names you should know from seeing them occasionally on the first team bench or in pre-season friendlies where they got some minutes. George Abbott, what a month for that guy. Literally just signed his first professional contract in the middle of March. And then within a couple of weeks, he's on the bench for the first team against Bournemouth. And now he's playing in the under-18s Cup final against Villa Park. From what I've heard, I think we're favourites as well for that one. But, I mean, what a story it would be for the youth teams of Tottenham Hotspur. And look, you never know how many of them are going to move on and go on to become top players or players that can even break into the first team. But you have to at least, I guess, acknowledge and be super pumped that comparatively Tottenham's youth teams or the kind of graduate level teams, they have to comparatively be stronger than most teams in the Premier League for us to get to the under-17s and the under-18s finals. Whether or not they become top players, they've got a better chance, or at least our squads are doing better than everybody else's for the same age. So, good times. Yeah, everything feels a little bit kind of unclear. But yeah, if you peel the onion layers back a little bit and look into the rabbit hole of Tottenham, then at least if the present might not look so great, the future might look a little bit healthier with the fact that these two teams are doing so well in their respective competitions. So congratulations to the under-17s. Best of luck to the under-18s. Let's see if we can get a double in the trophy cabinet for this season. And it will be something to kind of take some positives into the summer. Moving away from all of that stuff, Daniel Levy's Q&A session that was uploaded last night Look, I'll be honest, there wasn't really anything new in there that we could take away, apart from there's an intention or supposed intention to give Harry Kane a statue, which I think is nice to hear. You know, I think it's long overdue that we don't have any statues memorialising or celebrating the heroes of bygone eras at Tottenham. Maybe yesterday was the first intimation or inference that they're starting to warm up to the idea of paying tributes to the heroes of our football club, maybe both past and present. So that will be interesting. Everything else, there was nothing new that we could really grasp or hold on to. But I think there was some clarification and some insights into, you know, matching up some of the decisions that are going on with regards revenue generation and the processes, or the thought processes rather, of why those things are important. Before I speak on them, I just want to kind of also acknowledge, I think it's very clear that, and I think he made it clear, he doesn't like public appearances. I don't think he likes Q&As, and this was like a very rare one-off occasion because he went to Cambridge University when he was younger. And I think that, you know, I think for the most part it was unedited. There was a couple of like clips where it was cut, but like 95% of that entire 95% of the entire thing was basically one long stream. So, and the vast majority of the questions came from the audience that weren't, or didn't appear to be, pre-planned or pre-approved. And a lot of the questions I thought were pretty interesting, pretty intelligent, educated questions. You'd expect that from the audience there. And they didn't really hold back on going into the business mechanics. And, you know, there was a question around whether or not how he feels on the suggestion that there's too much emphasis on the business and not enough emphasis on the football side. And his response to that was that he disagrees, and that he spent, or that we have spent, you know, more money than the vast majority of clubs, and actually clubs that have spent less money than us have had more success. And so it's not so much a correlation between how much you spend to how likely success happens. It's more around how you spend it. And whilst he's right with that, and I think everyone would agree that we have made a lot of, you know, expensive mistakes, and he said so himself without naming the players. He reiterated the same point that he made in his financial accounts. But I think there is also a correlation between, you can see for yourself that there is a correlation between success and the wages that you pay. The teams that pay the highest wages generally have the most success. And I think one of the things that he was talking about, which is worth reiterating again, I've said it along, you know, on a lot of occasions on these walks, that the rules are changing around FFP towards sustainability, and we're going to see the first movement into that this summer, where from now on, for the next year, a club can only spend 90% or up to 90% of its total revenue on player fees, player wages or staff wages, and agents' fees. And then next year it becomes 80%, and then the following year it becomes 70%. So there's a bit of a runway, and then it stops at 70%. And so because of that impending new rules around FFP, then if you want the greatest talent, and you want to be able to pay the highest wages to attract that talent, then you have to find a way to elevate your top line. You have to find a way to increase your revenue as much as you can. And in so doing, you can then increase the amount that reflects that 70% limit. And that's why he's doing what he's doing. That's why he built the stadium. That's why he's doing the Formula One. That's why he's doing the NFL. Because not only does it immediately bring in revenue to the club now, but it also expands the brand and the fan base worldwide to maintain interest that can be commercialized later. And in his mind, that brings the revenue number up, which then allows the 70% limit number to be higher, which then allows him to compete with those that have, the ambitions to be competitive at the very top. He did go in. He didn't mention in any detail Man City, but one of the questions was about other clubs and how they are potentially breaking the rules. And he said, look, the rules have to be implemented and they have to be enforced. And he said, I don't want to speak about Manchester City specifically. We'll find out in time whether or not they were doing what they were doing outside of the rules or within the rules. And of course, the allegations against teams like Manchester City are that they have in the past inflated their revenue number by having unreasonable sponsorship deals, with ridiculously inflated sums that come from connected third parties that don't really offer any tangible product or service, that don't make any sense. And it looks like that's just a kind of money laundering exercise or robbing Peter to pay Paul to get that number up, which then allows you to then go and compete and pay the highest wages and pay the biggest transfer fees for the players that you want. But on top of that, they've also been accused of paying certain members of their staff off the books, paying them reduced, deflated or suppressed amounts of money through the books officially at Manchester City, and then employing them again via third-party entities for consulting work during the off-season, where they get paid up the difference. And so by doing that, you both increase the overall revenue number with a disingenuous method, and you suppress your overall spend number through disingenuous methods. But that officially it allows you then to be able to spend that difference on the players that you need to be able to compete. Now, all of that stuff was happening before the new FFP rules, but there were still rules that were being broken or alleged to have been broken then, and that's what Manchester City are getting investigated for, and have had was it a 10-year investigation or 10-year review and audit, and we'll see what happens there. But Tottenham Hotspur need to compete and need to do it through the right way, I guess, or within the rules, and that's what Daniel Levy is saying is the justification for all of these different sports that he's moving into. Now, people that will be frustrated with the current performances on the pitch will use that stick and say he's distracted. He doesn't care about Tottenham. He wants to be a multi-sports arena and an events company that happens to play football. He would argue that he's doing all of those things to be able to create the revenue to be able to compete. And I'm guessing, for me personally, I think that the truth is somewhere in between. His intention is to make money. His intention is to grow the brand of Tottenham Hotspur and the revenue streams for an eventual sale. But until that day happens, then he makes the case that all the money ever ends up back in the Tottenham Hotspur coffers, which then allows for the reinvestments into the team. And that, to his point, we do have £250 million of transfers on loan. So it's, again, not about the lack of spend, it's about how we spend it. There wasn't really any deep questions during the Q&A about that side of things, about why it is that we fail with our scouting, why it is that we, choose player A rather than player B consistently when, as the story unfolds, player B was the right choice and we picked the wrong one. And there's a never-ending stream of examples of players that we bought when we could have gone a different direction. I would say the last thing that I think is palpable and tangible, and something that he said that is, I guess, going to be very disappointing to a lot of you. He said that all of the rumours of people buying us out, investments coming in to the club, or a potential sale that have been banded around the media and the newspapers over the last months are completely untrue. There has been no conversations about that stuff. And that because of the structure of the ownership of the club, in that there is about, I think he said 30,000 minority shareholders, very small shareholders that are fans of the club that never gave up their shares when the club was taken off of the stock market, the stock exchange. Because of that relationship, any purchase, any potential bidder, any potential offer for the company would have to be walked through, considered and acknowledged and spoken about with the shareholders. But because there hasn't been no such conversations have had to take place. Looks like we're stuck for him for a little while longer, guys. Right, listen, there's not much more. I'd go and watch the 40-minute video. It is interesting. His answers are very short and very cute. He doesn't really spend too much time going into any detail unless he has to. He's very educated, I think, in the way to answer questions without giving away more information. So not much more to go on, but in summary, no bids, the future of the club, and the revenue streams will continue in the direction that we've seen them, because it's a way to lift the first number, the top line, which then allows you to lift the bottom line when it comes to your spend and be still within the 70% limits and remain competitive. And that he said that he's all for the sustainability rules and he wants justice. If Manchester City have been accused of things and are guilty, then they should be punished in accordance with the rules. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Are you disappointed with the interview? Are you surprised? Were you impressed? Anything you learned? Let me know, guys. I've got to go out now for a birthday lunch. So wish me a happy afternoon, and I'll wish you the same. Like, subscribe and comment, guys. And as always, bye-bye.